Mini pod time, boys.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry.
Mini pod time. Holly's about to have, what do you reckon? Popcorn chicken go bucket?
Nah, I'll have some noodles. Got some noodles at home.
Noodles.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Just put the popcorn chicken on top of the noodles.
I'm not getting popcorn chicken as much as I want it.
They might be a sponsor by now. We recorded this 6 weeks ago. Mini pod time. Now, did we do this last year? The tiers, the running back tiers?
Wide receivers we did last year.
Okay, all right. Well, what we've got is we've each come up with a list of our top 15 running backs, and we've put them in tiers of 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that what we've done?
Yes.
Top 4 tiers? Oh, no. Oh, no. What have we done, Chris?
What have you done?
I just did my top 15 in order.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's all right. Just split it up. Just right now assign tiers to them. 1, 2, 3. Have you done 4 tiers, Dos?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go via the tiers. So quickly divide yours up there, Hawley.
Okay, should he be higher then? Well, that's tough.
But you've put them in order. Why not just
Yeah.
put a split between them? Why would tiers change the order of your running backs?
Come on, buddy.
This is more thinking on the show again, isn't it? Just dead air thinking. All right. Well, Dos,
I got killed for this last week on the.
I don't think that episode is going to air. By the way, I
that's
think
good.
that was a little grim.
Well,
Dos,
we can
we had
rebuild it.
arguments about the wide receiver tier last year. I'm pretty sure we're going to have the same argument again now. This is based on current talent. All right, the top 15 running backs on current talent. Do you have a problem with that, Chris?
And how many snaps you played last
No,
season?
that is not
If it
part
does,
of it.
I'll
actually, no,
jump
it's
over
not.
this table and punch you in the face. But I won't. But.
You won't.
Why are you so angry?
Because he won't even have Ashton Jeanty in his rankings.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is difficult to understand how the college talent translates. I think that's the problem. It's not, Dos, I completely disagree about how many snaps you played. That means
No,
nothing.
I'm only joking.
Oh, that's a joke.
That was
Right, okay.
but I was being facetious with
Okay,
that. But
good word.
You're lucky.
Yeah, lucky.
All
Can
right.
we get into the base?
All right, come
Sure,
on.
so
let's
top
go.
15. I had Jeanty 16th. No, I didn't have him in my tiers, only because I just don't know, right? And I've been
You didn't have him at all?
No, I don't have him, no. Not because he hasn't played snaps, but because I don't know where his talent fits in the NFL. I just don't know how.
He hasn't played in the league yet.
So?
After week 1, he could be 4th.
It could be, yeah, but I've got to see it. I'm just not sure. But where did you have him? Number 1, did you?
I've got him as in my 3rd tier, as my 10th running back overall.
Okay, well, I mean, that's not outrageous. If
Yeah,
you're
but
10th
he's
and
there.
I'm
But
16th.
like you said, he's 10th at the moment because I had to look at stats from last year, and some of these guys just had good seasons. And
Sure.
I expect, looking at like Saquon's first year, Zeke Elliott's first year, if he mirrors that, then he's straight away top 5 guy because their first years were top 5 stats straight off the bat. And that's what we're expecting from him because of where he was drafted and the hype. He's had a better college career than any of those guys, any of these guys on this list have ever had.
I agree.
So we're expecting him to be top 5. So on talent alone, what we've seen so far, he's probably number 1, really. But he just hasn't done it in the NFL.
Number 1.
On talent alone, from what we've seen
Well,
and what we can compare, I said he hasn't done it in the NFL, but for what he did in college, he's the best running back in this group.
Well, if the exercise was who had the better college career, yes, but there is a difference between college talent and NFL talent.
That's why I said in college, out of this group, he's the best running back, but he hasn't done it in the NFL yet.
Yeah.
That's why
And you've still got him 10th.
That's why I've got him at 10 and not 1.
I think 10 is entirely reasonable.
Because
I think it's
going
fine.
by running backs that get drafted that early,
Sure.
Robinson didn't
But
have...
Trent Richardson also got drafted at 4, so we see
so
where
it doesn't
that...
happen every single year. But Robinson's the guy out of this group. Like Saquon did it in his first year. Elliott did it in his first year. Robinson could have done it in his first year, but they had another guy called Algier who was also a very, very good running back. And by the way, I almost had him in my...
Tyler Algier.
I almost had him.
All right, well, let's start from the bottom. Why don't you give us your 4th tier, just the names in there going from bottom up?
Okay, my 4th tier, I'd like to put... There's a few guys that I didn't have in my top 15, but I'll name them quickly. Chase Brown,
Same.
Tyler Algier, David Montgomery.
Same.
Rico, I had him close, but he won't be anymore because he's not a starter. James Conner, and now I get into my top 16 guys. Top 15, Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs are my 4th tier guys.
Josh Jacobs in the 4th tier.
Yeah.
What?
I had Jacobs 3rd tier.
Because he went at 4.4 yards a carry, Dos.
He's a workhorse, and I don't think his numbers are as flattering if he doesn't get as many snaps. He's one of the hardest worked runners, and
He's in my 3rd tier.
yeah, 3rd tier. Well, I mean,
So
how are
he's
you
in
so
my
astonished
4th.
between 3rd and 4th?
Well, because I got him 5th.
How big's your 3rd tier?
How big's your 1st and 2nd tier?
Well, we got top 15.
Yeah.
We did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you got 1 and then 2,
Oh,
you
you've
did it
done
like
it like
a
a pyramid,
pyramid.
have you?
that's how you do it.
Oh, I haven't done it like that.
I just separated it. Oh, so you've gone the head honcho and then the next 2.
Because that's
and
how
then-
we did it with our wide receivers
Okay,
last year.
Let's abandon the tier system and give us your 15 up to 1, Hawley. All right,
Okay.
go and
15.
we'll review as we go.
So we've got Joe Mixon 15,
Yep.
Josh Jacobs 14. What's
going.
wrong with that?
Keep
Kyron Williams 13,
Yep.
Brees Hall 12,
Yep.
Devon Achan 11,
Oh, I had him 11 too.
Ashton Jeanty 10,
Mm-hmm.
Chuba Hubbard 9,
Chuba Hubbard. Yep.
Mm.
Jonathan Taylor 8,
Yep.
Bucky Irving 7, James Cook 6, who, by the way, was very close to being high because he had a
Mm.
You
really
got Cook higher than I.
Yeah,
Mate,
you
he
can
went
hide me.
I had him high, but
well, he had the most touchdowns in the league last year and also went at 5 yards a carry. So
He did,
find me running
4.9.
backs that have been better than that. My boy Robinson at 5, Christian McCaffrey at 4.
Yep.
Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky because I wanted to get this guy higher, but I couldn't. Jamhyr Gibbs is my 3rd. Derrick
Same.
Henry is 2. Saquon is 1. I think if Saquon Derrick didn't go at bloody 6 yards a carry last year and have unbelievable seasons, and Jamhyr would be my number 1 guy by a fair while.
You know
I
what's
think.
incredible? Our top 5 is exactly the same order.
Well, fives. The top 5 should
Barkley,
be close.
Henry, Gibbs, CMC, Robinson. Yeah, but there's some variables
Yeah.
within that top 5. So that's not too bad.
CMC was the tough one to where do you put him? Because if he's fit, he's probably number 1 because he's that dual threat guy. But he hasn't been fit.
yeah.
But you can't. I kind of gave him a leave pass last year for being injured. He held his tier level. So I had my top 5 as all tier 1 guys.
Yep.
If you're not doing the pyramid, I had
Okay.
top 5 as my tier 1 guys. Cook, Irving, and Taylor my tier 2 guys. Then Hubbard, Jeanty, Achan, Williams, and Hall as my tier 3 guys. And then Jacobs, Mixon as my tier 4 guy. Now the guys that I think can rock it up. I think Brees Hall could easily be a top.
Where did
tier.
you have Hall, sorry?
I've got him 13.
Yeah, I didn't have him in.
I don't
bottom of my
have
third tier.
Brees Hall in
Well, we're
at all.
doing it on like talent
Talent,
and that kind of. And Brees Hall is clearly a very talented running back. Last year was just a bad year.
I'm just starting to become a bit less convinced over
He's
his
had
career
one-
output.
Was it one? But
He hasn't gone over 1,000 yards in a year yet, in 3 years, and he's only had 14 touchdowns in 3 years. He's less than 5 TDs a year.
it's tough at the
So-
Jets, isn't it?
I think he burst onto the scene early, and
Well,
we
he
thought
did
this
his-
guy's a freak.
Did
and
his
then-
knee, right?
But you know why? It's because he was on fire, and then he did his knee. Then he
Yeah.
came back when he shouldn't have been good, but he was good after that knee year, or he was reasonable.
Yeah.
And then last year he was at a Jets organization that was just
It's hard to tell.
stuffed, right? So you're hoping this year things change around. But he's the one I think can go a lot higher. I was surprised when I looked into Kyron Williams a little bit closer that he only went at 4.2 yards a carry. He still had 14 TDs, but I thought that was going to be a lot higher, and it wasn't. And then Chuba Hubbard surprised me as well, Dos.
He was excellent
He
last
just
year.
He was very
randomly
good.
had a really good year, 4.8 yards a carry, 10 TDs. I was really impressed when I started to look a little deeper into
And
his
Well, we
stats.
were banging the Hubbard drum last year a lot.
Yeah.
Dos. He led our MVP for the Panthers. He had the most votes in the Outback QB MVP award, which is voted across every game. And he saved them because the Jonathan Brooks draft pick has been a disaster so far with
And Brooks
ACLs.
is out again next season.
Correct.
He won't be playing. And he was relied on heavily when Bryce Young came back in after Andy Dalton started a few games there. 4.8 yards per carry for Hubbard. And he missed the last 2 games of the season. And 2 games that they won in overtime, he went over 150 yards in both of those games and had nearly close to 30 carries in both of them. So
No, he's very good.
he was really good. I had him 14th on my list.
I don't know where you guys have got this guy, but he was very close to a tier 1 for me. He had 8 TDs for the year. If that was 12, he's a tier 1 guy. But Bucky Irving, 5.4 yards per carry. So you put that
He's
into
huge.
Derrick Henry had 6 yards a carry. Barkley and Gibbs both had 5.7 yards a carry. Then you've got Bucky at 5.4. And you got some lower guys who didn't have as many carries, like Jordan Mason, who might have a good year behind Aaron Jones if Jones doesn't go well this year. He had 5.2 yards a carry, but he didn't play as many games, have as many snaps. But Bucky's the guy that if you give him the carries this year and he gets some goal line TDs, then he could
So
go big.
Bucky Irving in the last half of, or from weeks 12 to 18, had 834 scrimmage yards, which was the third most in the league across that span. He started off slow, but the Bucs offense ranked 4th for rushing yards and 3rd overall, and he was just awesome.
And that's a team that has traditionally really struggled over the last few years. When it was Rashad White and Lenny Fournette, they had no juice.
Yeah,
going
hard yards,
whatsoever.
right? So I'd Bucky 10th, Hawley.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's. Our top 5 was the same, so I'll go through my list quickly. Then you can go through yours, Dos. I'll go from the top down: Barkley, Henry, Gibbs, CMC, and Robinson. Then I had Jonathan Taylor. He was back to form last year with 1,400 yards. It was a hard one to rank.
I didn't rank him high because he had 4.7. He just had a lot of carries, so that's why his yards are so high.
Yeah.
You give those carries to James Cook, Bucky Irving, Chuba Hubbard, James Conner. All those guys are the same as Jonathan Taylor,
but
if
I
not
think
better.
Yes, that's true for last year, but he's shown it over, and he's had 2 really big other years in his career.
2021
was enormous.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and I won't forget that in a hurry. But I think both him and the guy that I have at 7, which is Kyron Williams, their stats, yes, weren't as explosive last year, but I think they're both talismen for their team. There's something special about them. They make a massive impact when they're playing and playing well. The Rams without Williams aren't the same. The Colts without Taylor aren't the same. So that's why I have them there. Josh Jacobs, same amount of carries as Robinson and Taylor, but just for less output. He is a workhorse, though, so I'll give him that. The thing that worries me with Jacobs, I had him at 8, is that he has 1 good year, 1 bad year, 1 good year, 1 bad year. He's had 2 good ones now, but I just don't know how consistent he'll be going forward. But still,
The touchdowns helped him. If 4.4 yards a carry isn't elite, but the 16 TDs was huge last year.
What else did I have? Mixon, Cook, and Achane are in there, and then
you had Mixon higher.
Yeah, I did. I think he's underrated.
And behind a bad line last year as well, he ran well. And that's why
he made them better because they were in a hole with Damian Pierce the year before too.
I thought about having Mixon a lot higher purely based on the line, his output with such a bad offensive line. But
had the knee injury after week 2. He had about 150 yards in week 1 by memory. He had a huge game and then he got injured. And he missed 2 or 3 games there. And then when he came back from that, 5 of the next 6 games went over 100 yards.
Yeah.
And then he dropped off at the back of the season, but then his playoffs actually, he was not bad in the 2 playoff games.
Have I heard Bucky Irvin's name yet?
Yes, I had Irving just after Jacobs.
Sorry.
And then the last 3 are Alvin Kamara, which we haven't mentioned yet. Still Wiley, still got it. He had his most rushing yards in a year last year. He still hasn't broken 1,000. He had 950, but he also had 550 scrimmage. And I think he's still got a good year or so left. And he's that hybrid that's sort of half a receiver as well. 14th was Chuba Hubbard. Like I said, was very good. We all agree. And then 15th, I could not leave out James Conner. I rate that guy so highly. He's 30 years old, 4.8 yards per carry last year, 15 touchdowns over the last 2 years for a guy who has been in and out and had a couple of injuries. And he gets it done. He just gets it done with minimal fuss, and he's still so strong. So I like Conner.
You know what he didn't get done, though?
I'd Conner 13.
What's that?
Your fantasy championship
No,
weekend.
he didn't get it done.
No, he did get it done? I did.
Well done. Very good. Kenny Walker I left out. He fell off last year.
I was close to having Kenny. He missed a lot of games, but yeah.
I think we went 3.7 per carry, which was not good. Which
is too low.
One that is very unlucky is David Montgomery. 25 touchdowns in the last 2 years. I almost put him in. He's the Robin to Gibbs's Batman.
His yards, I suppose his yards per carry a little bit lower because he's getting a different workload to Jamhyr
and he's taken goal line ones, so he'll have plenty that get 0 yards before he punches.
I mean, between the 2 of them, they had 30 TDs on the ground.
Oh, it's a great duo. It's absolutely fantastic.
Unbelievable.
All right, Dos.
Did either of you boys have Aaron Jones?
I had him on my shortlist, but he didn't make it in.
I got him in.
He's probably an apology.
Probably on talent, he's probably in. Yeah.
I mean,
he's not really. Is he though? He had 5 TDs in a Minnesota offense.
Well, 7 total. It's
not many, Dos.
He's had over 1,500 yards from scrimmage, career high in carries and rush yards. He's a dual threat. He's 30, and he's been given a contract extension, a 2-year contract extension because of how well he played. Went at 4.5 yards a carry.
Well, I'm actually.
It's not that bad.
Give us your order. Give us your 15.
Sorry, on Aaron Jones, I'm really liking Jordan Mason this year because a 30-year-old running back, there wouldn't be too many that have got through a season healthy. So Jordan Mason last year went at 5.2 yards a carry. If he takes over that backfield, then I feel like he could have one of those guys that end up having a really big year.
Go on, Dos. 1 to 15.
Yeah, so I've gone Barkley, Henry, Gibbs, the same 3. Then I've gone Robinson at 4. I had McCaffrey lower. I had him at 7, but that's only because of the injuries last year.
Who have you got above him?
I've got Jacobs and Taylor above him.
Well, I wouldn't go Jacobs. Taylor, I can understand.
Taylor for me I had him at 3 at one stage, and then I thought, oh, no, I can't. And then he dropped all the way down to 8.
Yeah, I don't have.
I can understand your McCaffrey concern because really, look at it, in the last 6 years, he's had one really good season.
Yeah, 2023 Offensive Player of the Year, right?
Who was below him?
8th, I had James Cook.
Yep.
9th, I went Kyron Williams. 10th, Bucky Irving. Then I had Achane at 11, Jones at 12, your boy James Conner at 13, Hubbard at 14, and Mixon at 15.
Achane's interesting. I didn't think you'd have him in, Dos, because he can be hit and miss. When he hits, I think he's still almost the most explosive guy in the league.
I'll still give a little credit for his first year, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And last year, not a lot went right in Miami, but he did finish the season off pretty well. And there wasn't a lot going on offense, and he was really the only thing they had going on offense last season. So,
well, if we're talking, how many TDs did your boy Jones have?
Aaron Jones?
Yeah, 9?
8? 7.
7. So Achane last year had 6 TDs and 1,500 yards. So he matched Jones in what we're talking is maybe a poor year for Achane. And you're saying that's a career high for Jones, and Achane's had a poor year and he still had his 1,500.
Well, it's
he belongs in. Yeah, but he belongs in the list for sure.
Yeah, I had him there. Where did I have him? I think I had him
Achane had 12 touchdowns in total
last year.
Well, 12 from scrimmage.
That's still a good year. All right, question to finish, boys, for this mini pod. Your life is on the line. It's 4th and goal. It's a 3-yard carry.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I'm going to say Derrick Henry straight up.
Agreed. We'll see you next week.